You're listening to the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 23. We are back and it is a new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, there's somebody else in the room. That's nice. I am Sooltime. I am joined by Salliebug, Romancegirl, and Greenstego. How's everybody doing in this beautiful, new, fresh start of a year?
Great.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Doing well.
That's good to hear. Now, of course, the pending question on everybody's mind is, what have you been doing in terms of Destiny gameplay and otherwise interaction with the Destiny universe? Salliebug?
Oh, I have been taking full advantage of having some time off and just getting on pretty regularly. I wouldn't say like every day, but almost every day, and just doing a little bit of donning for the most part. That's been my focus, is baking cookies, delivering cookies, getting Dawning Spirit, the whole shebang.
What's your favorite cookie?
My favorite cookie?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
That is a tough one. I don't know.
Least favorite?
I don't know. I kind of like the shortbread.
Gentleman shortbread. Okay.
The gentleman shortbread cookie, just delivering it down to Devram so he can dunk it in his tea. I like it.
Okay.
What's your favorite way to get Dawning essence?
You know what? When I'm on with people who can carry me, I don't mind doing the farming of those legendary lost sectors. I can't do that on my own. But wow, I think I realized I needed to just, like, instead of like really worrying about farming the essence, just getting on and doing the things that I would normally do, like do the 3 strikes and do the 3 gambit matches. I still avoid Crucible for the most part, but But other than that, yeah, just playing. If there's a pub, if I'm on and I'm like working on like a gunsmith bounty or something like that, and there's a pub ev going on, I'll just do that for a while, because that's a quick 5.
Yeah. Romancegirl, what have you been up to, Destiny-wise?
Oh, well, since there's double Nightfall Ordeal rewards, Greenstego has dragged us into the Nightfall Ordeal again. It's the Europa strike the glass way this week. So we've grinded that a little. We did it with our friend Ghost on 1250. And then last night we did a little on 1220 with a blueberry. It's a bit of a grind.
On 1250, how'd you do? Like, you were able to get through it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
It's tough. I don't. It's not a great one to grind, as they've been saying. But it's rewarding. Not just the rewards, but it's rewarding to feel like you can finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something I think I need to try. I have really been neglecting the Nightfalls. Been doing the strikes again, which I was avoiding for a while. But I've been having
better about.
I've just been having fun going in the world and doing the patrol public event cycle, and really trying to get bounties done just to get that XP. I actually made some custom shells for myself. I made an XP shell. I made a glimmer shell.
Ooh.
So I'm customized. I really starting to take advantage of that shell customization they've added. Pretty cool, actually. I like the whole concept of it, and it's basically the transmog as well. You can use any exotic shell to do this. And it's another reason, and for the first time in a long time, and of course, full disclosure here, I think for all of us, we're at that weird point where we've had a couple weeks off from work where our gameplay has been many more, increased to maybe a little more than a casual level, what I would normally be playing. So I've been playing a lot, and I am finally glimmer poor for the first time in a long time, and looking at masterworking some armor, getting to that point, and maybe masterworking a few more weapons. So, because I've built up the resources to do so, and with the shell customization, you can get a 65% glimmer drop increase, or just the glimmer you do get is 65% more, which just makes hopping around chest farming worth it and efficient.
Yes, it makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference, and so glimmer's not a problem. Of course, you can always delete all those shaders if you need to get glimmer. And Salliebug pointed out you could trade with Spider, right?
Yes, I'm still sitting on a huge stockpile of the old materials, so that's what I do.
There was one day this week, I don't remember what it was, because I was like glimmer poor as well. And then one day, I think it was a couple of days ago, and he was doing exchange with a planetary material that I had like godly amounts of anyway. So I just was able to get my glimmer right back up there.
I do think that sorry.
Go ahead.
I do think that they're in a good place with the economy. Like, I used to never run out of glimmer, and now that's something that happens pretty frequently if I play for a while. And I have enough. I've always had a lot of enhancement cores because I, like you all, was never really motivated to masterwork most of my stuff. But now that I have so many enhancement cores, I'm also getting enhancement prisms, and I think I do have enough.
That's what I was gonna say.
Time to raid.
I pulled the trigger and actually masterworked a full set of Season of the Hunt armor, and that's what made me glimmer poor. Like, I needed everything I had, because I was sitting on a stockpile of all of those materials. I did need to buy a few prisms at the end to get the Ascendant Shard for the very last piece, but I have a full set of masterworked gear now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, because it's like I have the only other masterworked set I have is the one from the Garden of Salvation, and it's a good set, and I probably will be infusing it up, but that set's almost obsolete, because there's like a different armor set that drops, like there's a raid, something having to do with the mods. I don't quite, I just remember that there's a different set. There's a different mod system with the raid gear, so that the new gear that drops, the old gear is still fine, but the new gear that drops from
it has a special slot for raid mod.
Right. I mean, it's not really that big a deal, especially not for a casual player who plays like at the level that I do, but
right.
Yeah, I was max on Ascendant Shards.
Ooh,
so I masterworked.
Yeah, that's a rare occurrence.
A piece of gear.
It's one piece.
I mean, I wasn't trying to collect them or anything. It just eventually happened, I guess, between doing the Nightfalls and we got an Ascendant Shard from the community event.
Yeah, I'll need to, I think that's what I'm going to need to do next, is start farming that.
So I don't know if anybody else. Nightfalls. Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody else finds this difficult, but it's always depressing for me to come out through the other end of the holiday season and the new year and start thinking about taking down the decorations and everything. And we're closing out, and that goes hand in hand with what's going on in the Destiny universe. We're closing out the Dawning. And matter of fact, this Tuesday it'll go away, right?
Yeah.
So where does everybody stand, both in terms of your overall impressions of the 2020 Dawning celebration, and where do you stand in terms of the activity itself, the triumphs, and so on and so forth?
With the completion of the latest step of the community quest, I have completed all of the triumphs for the Dawning.
Oh, Master Cookie Baker.
Between turning in all of the cookies and baking with the repeatable bounties from Eva, I am now season rank 99.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on track to being level 100, the earliest I've ever been in any season.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd say I've enjoyed the Dawning thoroughly, and I'm ready for just like regular winter vibes.
Oh, you liked it, but you're ready for it to end.
Yes.
Wow.
That's kind of encouraging.
That's a harsh take.
I know. I'd like to be there, and I am there because I like Stego. I have completed all the triumphs. But I don't. I think it's more I'm addicted to the vacation and wearing a mask all day and trying to keep people in line with distancing and hand washing and disinfecting and all that. I'm really not looking forward to going back to that. I'm not ready yet. And so maybe that's how it's manifesting itself. I'm taking it out on Bungie for making the Dawning go away. I'm projecting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Stego. It's not like a harsh take or anything. I feel like the Dawning has been like a really nice diversion to doing some other activities in the game with kind of like the Dawning and cookie baking in mind. And yet there's so much stuff with the Europa quests that I still have not even fully completed. I'm pretty sure I haven't like fully unlocked all of the darkness subclass, like all the aspects of that.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's that. So it's been a nice diversion, and I have hardly spent any time on Europa except to deliver a cookie to Varix every now and again.
Yeah, true.
So I'm kind of ready to get
Beyond Light
back on Europa.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I have been spending a lot of time trying to get the Season of the Hunt triumphs done as well. Been doing those, and those are on the Tangled Shore and Dreaming City. The
Wrathborn
take
stuff.
place there, the Wrathborn hunts.
Yeah.
And so I think you could still use other triumphs that aren't related to specifically the actual hunts, where you just have to get weapon kills with the Season of the Hunt weapons and so forth. So you could
I do not think that Wrathborn hunts are going away.
Yeah, right. So I've gotten to a point where it's like, okay, I need to not put as much focus, but some of the triumphs are, right? So you want to get the triumphs done.
I think the triumphs are going away.
The
title will go away for sure.
The title, right? To the triumphs that are attached to the
and we're
title.
Still waiting on a 7th upgrade for the
we still
lure,
got a whole
right?
other month for that, right? That's doesn't go away until February. So, but yeah, I'm kind of ready to get back into, because I really, really am enjoying Europa, and being on my snowmobile Sparrow. And
I'm surprised to hear you say I want the dawning to end so I can go back to Europa, because I don't associate the dawning with limiting your
I know it's
your
it's weird. Yeah.
It's almost like not me being able to like find a balance of doing all the things for Europa with the dawning. I don't know. It's
twisted.
I've been playing very casually in terms of just picking up the Eva bounties and picking up the Gunsmith bounties and just going to like basic planets to get those done, or farming a lost sector or some other area to get
your basic
material. Yeah,
you got to get the second aspect for your stasis subclass.
I do. Yeah, I think that's I need to get back into that focus. Look at what that quest is. Look what else.
With doing the Nightfalls, I now have I have had more luck with this than Greenstego for whatever reason, but I have almost all of the fragments unlocked. No, it's not. The fragments are attached to quests that you pick up and you finish them. So that's not RNG. That is, I am better at finishing quests.
Although you do get random assignments.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're not picking up the Vanguard versions of the quest.
I mean, that is true. I usually pick up the Gambit ones, and then I'm like, let's do Nightfall Ordeal.
Yeah. So I pick up the Vanguard ones, and they involve, killing champions with stasis. So I'm able to.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I could use a little advice on getting the fragments unlocked. Of course, I've like everybody was just saying, I've been neglecting Europa, except for to deliver the etheric cookies to Varix. And maybe I did a few odd things, just tie up some loose ends on some bounties or quests that I had. But I guess the other thing that, along with this season of the Dawning, I've got to say it's been kind of special because a couple of things. One is I noticed that in Eververse, she's selling the previous Dawning universal ornaments for your armor. And if you already own some of the pieces, you're discounted those. So it's less bright dust to complete the set. It actually says complete the set over the universal ornament bundle that you can purchase. So I was able to get my warlock decked out in full frost breach, beautiful Dawning elegance. I put on the elegance shader, and that's one positive. I don't remember that happening in the past. So that was something I'm enjoying, and I'm looking.
It was for Bright Dust.
For Bright Dust, I'm looking forward to going in on my Hunter and my Titan and seeing how much it would cost to complete previous Dawning, armor from Dawning's past.
Bungie. I don't know if they were doing a fashion show.
Yeah,
a Dawning fashion show on Twitter or something.
But I really like that. I got into the fantasy of using all Dawning shells, shaders, ships, sparrows. I got out the old polar bear sparrow for my Hunter. And I've also been enjoying playing on my alt characters too, having the time to go and help the clan out with some XP on those alt characters. Has been fun. And I got to say, the other thing that made this year's Dawning special was discovering sort of the the soundtrack fan community, putting together the Dawning carols. And so I would load that into Spotify, which you can play in the background, and that would be the soundtrack for me as well. So I had a lot of fun doing that and using their project as the soundtrack to Destiny as I was playing, regardless of the activity. So it was actually a little extra festive. And I don't know if it was just needing a vacation more than ever because of working in a tough environment this year. But overall, I think this was my favorite season of the Dawning so far. I had the most fun, I think. And oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I agree. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Salliebug and I were able to complete the Hawkmoon quest and get the Hawkmoon recently. And
Nice.
it made me appreciate, if nothing else, I know a lot, there's sort of a mixed review on this iteration of the Hawkmoon, but it made me appreciate the fact that we no longer have all those Sony exclusives. We're no longer plagued with that. It's very, very liberating, and it made me appreciate that fact, to be able to just go out and get this classic, exotic gun. And I was really impressed with the PvE aspect of it, and especially the sound. So I'm going to be featuring that in today's sound check, Destiny sound check later on. Yeah. I just saw Salliebug go by. Did you get more coffee? Hello?
I did. I have a smaller mug.
Oh.
So I got a little bit more coffee and a little bit of banana bread that I had baked a couple days ago.
Oh,
So.
living large. Holy cow.
Seasoned eatings indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about that Hawkmoon quest a little bit? Sooltime, or
Yeah, sure.
tell us about it.
I was a little bit salty the first time we went through it because it was a hellacious jumping puzzle, especially for those jumping challenged guardians.
The jumping challenge. Oh,
i.e.
I was so
Salliebug.
frustrated.
Yeah. It helped that I waited for you and respawned you and had you go ahead so that if you fell, I was able to respawn.
Did you put on your stompies?
I didn't put on stompies, so there was that. And the other thing is that I think if I had watched a video on it and where to go, it would have been easier. We definitely we did this blind. We did it blind, which was kind of fun in its own respect. Right? But you guys still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. You're the beginnings of your words, like I said. So you have to lower your sensitivity in Discord.
My cat, who's like knocking over a mound of boxes and crawling in them. All right. At any rate, because the room I'm in kind of was the little Santa's workshop area where you wrapped presents and unboxed things, and she's just found all the empty boxes and is very excited about it.
That's cute.
It's distracting me, but at any rate, yeah. So we did it blind. So I watched something ahead of time to know where to go, because Sooltime ended up having to do that jumping puzzle a second time, and I joined him later, and I was able to kind of get through it with not a lot of ease, but certainly a lot easier because I knew where to go and where to jump. So it was just a matter of learning it.
Yeah,
and at least it wasn't
super disappointing to get to the end of it and not get the Hawkmoon because I hadn't completed the previous step. And luckily it was Mayhem, so I was able to go into Mayhem and finish off that step, the penultimate step to the Hawkmoon quest, where you have to get kills, Guardian kills or Gambit, either in Crucible or Gambit. And so it was Mayhem, perfect time to go in and I think it took me like 3 or 4 matches mayhem to finally succeed. And then Salliebug was gracious enough to come back in and help me finish off the jumping puzzle, the final step. And the final step was bugged too. That's what made me saltier. That's why I was so upset, because the final step was bugged. You know, it's one of those mechanics of, here's the spoiler. One of those mechanics where you pick up orbs and break shields, you know, like in that Dreaming City Strike. I forget the name of it right now. It's post-traumatic.
The Corrupted.
Yeah, Corrupted. Where you have to break a shield with one of those orbs, and then like you run out of orbs. There's a bug where the orbs aren't produced anymore, and it's like you're stuck. Like there's nothing you can do. And luckily there was a workaround. We did a little research while we were still in there, found the workaround, and we were able to, you know, it was difficult though. And it took a lot longer because of that.
Stasis and lament is what it did.
Yeah.
In the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
And took a lot longer because
we didn't
you
have
had
that
to
problem
wait for your super to come back to use your your stasis super to freeze them in time. And that part was definitely frustrating. Bug,
you couldn't do it if you didn't have stasis. You would have had to restart the mission and hope it didn't bug out again. And the second time when we ran through, I didn't have that problem, which was good. So I was happy in the end, and very happy with the Hawkmoon. I really like it for PvE because it's almost like what does it remind me of? What's the hunter exotic that you get the like really massive shot? The
Ace of Spades?
No, Celestial Nighthawk. The Celestial.
Oh.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of that. It's like a mini Celestial Nighthawk in the sense that once you get it to proc, the next bullet is just DPS City. It's like it was doing like 35,000 on a boss that procced.
But getting it to
Paracasual, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Hey, don't you have to do like 6 shots of precision shots? Something like
Either
that?
precision or a kill, I think, stacks it. And once it gets to stack 6, then then it procs. And in the sound check, we'll hear the sound of the Hawkmoon's, you know, regular fires, and then it gives us a surprise sound effect and a visual too. I've noticed there's like a blue ring that expands out when you get a visual and a sound cue that your next bullet is the Celestial Nighthawk. I mean, it doesn't do as much damage as a Celestial Nighthawk, but it's incredibly high damage.
But it's got a bit of a similar feel because it's like getting it to I don't know. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it, but for me, it doesn't really.
It definitely rewards precision.
Yeah, it's not really my type of gameplay.
You have to get those crits, right? Right, you have to get crits.
Getting crits all the time isn't really my forte. So
with a hand cannon, come on, Salliebug.
Yeah, but with a hand,
a hand cannon and a bunch of Vex, come on.
The thing is that I tend to just go back to using my Ace of Spades. It's like, why would I pick this one?
Yeah.
Why would I pick Hawkmoon over Ace of Spades?
I'll tell you why. You might get a god roll Hawkmoon.
Oh,
random rolls. The first randomly rolled exotic. Huh?
Nope.
I think we're pretty sure we know what it's going to be in the future, but it hasn't been released yet.
It hasn't dropped yet. It's going to, but it hasn't yet. Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a heroic version of that last mission.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That you guys didn't like.
Well, now that we know, like I said, now that you kind of know where to go and what to do, my guess is they'll be like champions and stuff like that. I mean, this is why I
don't think I ever got the Whisper of the Worm Catalyst because I just never wanted to do it again.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's the one thing, and maybe the heroic will be different, but that was the one thing that I was thankful for, is that it wasn't timed. So it wasn't like, okay, I keep missing this jump, but eventually it's just going to kick me out and I have to start all over again type of deal. That's the thing.
Zero hour. We had the same issue. I
never
couldn't get through the jumping.
Through the 0 hour. The only reason I actually have that gun is because someone carried me, because I could never get through the jumping puzzle part. And
the heroic version of the jumping puzzle is just cruel.
It was. I
0 hour.
I couldn't do it. I never actually got past the outside of the building. I would get sometimes around the corner, and that was about it. And it was frustrating.
Anywho, it's exciting that this will be our first exotic with random rolls.
Yeah. It's an interesting experiment. Let's see how it goes.
I know a lot of just a little bit that I've seen like come through my Twitter feed. People have been kind of like meh about the gun, but have hopes for whatever the random rolls are. So we shall see.
Wait and see.
Yeah, have either one of you, Romance or Stego, done a solo Legendary Lost Sector?
No. It's funny you bring that up.
Yes. I did one solo Legendary Lost Sector, but I did not do it on my account. At the recommendation of our clanmate, Ghost, he said that there was one specific one on Europa that was slightly easier to do, because that's the one that has the robot friends, the NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hopped on Romancegirl's account because it was for the helmet. It was a roll for the helmet. So I was like, let's just take a chance at getting Mask of Bacchus. And got it first try.
Wow. And how'd it go? How long did it take you? Like, was it easy?
I
mean, obviously
not easy. But I needed coaching because I kept playing not like a hunter
to yell
with
at
an
him to
dodge
every time. Use your dodge.
You're a hunter.
Yeah. Like,
it did feel like a team effort, even though he was on my character, because I was coaching him through what to do. But it wasn't so long, though. Maybe it was under 20 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every time Sooltime, maybe it's just been because of whatever the I think we tried to do a Legendary Lost Sector and it was attrition, and it was like, okay, this is never happening.
No.
Because you can't sit back and shoot things when it's attrition. You have to pick up the orders, you just take damage and then eventually die. So we tried that for about 10 minutes and said, this is never happening, so we're not going to do that. And there was one other one that we tried, and it was the one where it had the servitors floating around, one of the ones on Europa, and it was like, yep, this isn't happening either. So a little bit discouraged by it. It just may be one of those
I'd say
things.
It's definitely doable for you too as well, with that particular Lost Sector, because you do get the robot helpers.
Right. That's the Vex.
Invisibility was a big help for him.
Vex at the end. So some anti-barrier, because you can shoot through the.
I think he ended up just lamenting it, right?
Yeah, I did lament, and I have an Overload scout rifle for the Overload Minotaurs.
Balls
with Vorpal weapon.
Wow, that's amazing. So anyway, getting back to the podcast here.
So the podcast
Vorpal weapon is relevant. You know, we were talking about.
Yeah.
Mask of Bacchus.
Yeah.
Tell me about that exotic. I don't know much about it. What does it do?
It's when you, Daniel, I haven't even tried it, and I don't feel like I legitimately got it, but it's
right.
when you dodge, you shift instead, right?
Yeah, it's like
and then your arc weapons do more damage.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it gives you a damage buff on arc damage.
I'd love to use it with Risk Runner.
Yeah.
Or Cloud Strike.
Yeah, or Cloud
Strike. Risk Runner is
we get
been. I see a lot of people using it.
Oh, those are the New Light blueberries who have finished the New Light quest and got their first exotic.
That's right. So they have like that exotic, that one exotic hunt, and they can't let it go because it's amazing.
A whole new way to create
it's their
meta.
only exotic.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're gonna use it.
I personally still really love that gun.
It's so good. I have fun every time I use it.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. So it's time now, I think, to move into the next segment here, which is our Touch of Grimoire section. Are we ready for that?
Sure. I thought maybe we. Oh. Did I talk over some sound?
No. You've been very good on you for anticipating it. Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd do a couple of things. It might be a good time, since we were talking about Hawkmoon anyway, is to read the Hawkmoon lore.
Sure. Yeah. And, we do have an image of the Hawkmoon up on our live stream here. So why not? Let's start off with that. Go for it.
Yeah. You want to do it, Stego, or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll read it.
All right.
Hawkmoon, stalk thy prey and let loose thy talons upon the darkness. What is this feeling? I did not ask for it. I do not understand it. I do not want it. The crow is so carefree in his ignorance. The bonfire's glow lights up his pale features, and I am drawn to the hope in his gold eyes. Where is the despairing child I anticipated? He drinks from an open bottle of wine against the recommendation of his ghost. The guardian encourages him, and they are laughing. This celebration is maddening. Neither have reason to be so jubilant. Their world is ending, and they thrash like dying creatures in the final light of collapsing stars. They do not seem to acknowledge the futility of their existence, the impermanence of it in the face of cosmic annihilation. Now the guardian is drinking, standing close to the fire. Their ghost, too, encourages them not to partake. They poison themselves for the enjoyment of it. I am reminded of my sister, of moments spent by lapping shores, gazing up at infinite stars full of possibilities and wonder. I am left yearning. What is this feeling? I do not understand it. I do not want it. They are celebrating their victory over the Taken. The crow is making a gun shape with his hand, swinging the nearly empty bottle of wine around in the other like a sword. The guardian looks pensive, sitting on a rock by the fire, contemplating the secret they are keeping. The crow notices, but tries not to show it. He wants the guardian's spirits to be lifted. He wants to be supportive, so that they may share in their triumphs together, as equals. I am reminded of my home. I am reminded of the warmth of the sun and the embrace of my... I am reminded of my father's face. I am reminded of everyone I betrayed. All the blood spilled in the name of immortality. The warmth of the sun burns me with its memory. What is this feeling? I do not want it. The fire has nearly died. The crow fell over and cannot stand, though he insists he is fine. The guardian is turning the embers with the tip of their sword. The ghosts are talking to one another in quiet conspiracy. The celebration has ended, but I can sense their emotions are mixed, complex and myriad things, when a simple, singular focus would suffice. There is a growing kinship here, against better judgment. What is this feeling? Nancy.
So, I'm curious is like, who is the I? Who is the narrator of this? Like, what is your opinion on who is the narrator?
Is it us, the Guardian?
Well, that's kind of what I thought, but then it says it because it talks about the Crow and then it talks about the Guardian. So it's almost like there's a third person who's saying,
"Is it our ghost?"
No, it's not the Guardian and it's not the ghost.
Because it talks about the ghosts as well. It's very interesting. Like and this is.
I think it's Savathun.
I don't know. I'm curious. Like what?
That's what I was thinking.
Again.
Savathun, maybe.
Savathun.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
Spider.
Did not ask for it. I do not understand it. I do not want it.
Savathun is watching. Savathun is...
She sees you when you're sleeping.
She sees you when you're sleeping.
It's almost like right, and the feeling is like almost like a warmth, right? Like not because it does say, I'm reminded of my home. I'm reminded of the warmth of the sun, the embrace of my family, my father's face, kind of everyone I portrayed. And then it also says something about sisters, right? I'm reminded of my sisters.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Savathun before they were turned into the hive. Remembering, that's what she's remembering.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And so she's like, what is going on here? I hate this. I don't like this. This goes against sword logic. And she's having her...
Here against better judgment. What is this feeling? So she's almost
it's like Scrooge peering into the party with the ghost of Christmas past.
Yes.
It's exactly what's happening.
And before the end of it all, Savathun will be our closest ally against the darkness.
There was it. I mean, I think we talked about it. We touched upon it in a previous lore segment, how the Witch Queen might not even be Savathun. It might be her sister.
Zebu Arath.
Yeah, might be Zebu.
Or maybe it's both.
Maybe this is it. We don't know which sister
they can meld together. We know that, right?
Savathun, right?
No, we don't. They can't meld together.
Oh, sure they can.
I don't know.
Where did the gun come from?
No.
Pit of Heresy
I don't
lore.
want that to be true.
It's definitely that when you're going through, the Savathun's name comes up when you're doing the quest as well. So it's definitely Savathun. It's very interesting. It's an interesting piece of lore, and I kind of like there's a growing kinship against better judgment. What is this feeling? I like it.
You like the whole Savathun as Scrooge analogy?
I like the whole Savathun as having some semblance of, well, I mean, she's not really human, but humanity.
Morality.
Right?
Empathy.
Empathy. Yeah.
Human morality.
Yeah, morality.
So,
that was part one of Touch of Grimoire, but I did want to talk because it's like the only thing that's really dropped from Bungie over the last couple of weeks was another one of those Grimoire lore segments, just a news piece, like a reading.
And it's a play of shadow and light, right?
And it's a continuation of the story of Sagira and Osiris. I thought we should talk a little bit about that one as well.
Right.
Has everyone read it? I know Romance Girl has.
Romance Girl read it, but
I tried describing it to Greenstego.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. It's basically Ikora is the protagonist in this little story, and she's just contemplating. She's out on a rock or something and contemplating and looking out over the traveler. And she's approached by Osiris, and they talk a little bit about whether or not he has any connection to the light or the traveler. And he basically says no, that he doesn't. And then he gives her something that's a message from Sagira. And then he leaves, and then Ikora goes and talks with Saint because she's concerned about Osiris. Everybody's basically concerned about him. Like, obviously, he's lost his connection to the light. He's in full mourning, right, of losing Sagira, and in the way that he lost Sagira. And it really does touch upon like when you're in that true deep mourning. And she even outright asks Saint 14, like, is he in danger? Is he in danger of endangering himself? And Saint actually answers, I don't know. So that it's a little scary, right?
They think he might be suicidal.
Right. And then the next part is Ikora going and visiting Zavala. And she basically asks Zavala for, she says she's very much, her time is occupied with the hidden, and feels like there needs to be like another person who can help the Vanguard, but not fully taking over the place of Cade. They made that pretty clear, that it's like, no, we're not going to fill that void, fill that gap yet. But on the other hand, the Vanguard needs help, needs somebody to help. How does she word it? I'm going to find it.
Well, when we see Zavala, we know he's knackered. He's like very tired. We see him overworking. His ghost has to shut off his screen for him.
Right.
So we know that they're both overworked. The Vanguard is slipping, I think it's a better. There's too much work to do.
I think it's a better plan for you to take on an assistant, one who has experience in times of war, who understands the Vanguard's role intimately, especially when it comes to making decisions that may be unpopular. And then he says, not many candidates with those qualifications, Saint 14 perhaps, and then he stops. He realizes what she's asking him is to take on Osiris, or have Osiris take on a role in helping the Vanguard. And the one part that I wanted to read out loud was the message. The reason that Ikora like even approaches, obviously we're concerned about Osiris. We're trying to give him, she wants to give him purpose. And the reason is from this message that she got from Sagira. And it's all in all caps, an indictment. He is not as strong as he thinks. And then Ikora had smiled upon that. Even in death, Sagira couldn't resist taking her guardian down a peg or two. The rest of the message was not as amusing. I know you know that, Ikora, but I'm telling you here because he will try to strong-arm you and everyone else into leaving him alone. Please don't let him. Without me there to harass him into asking for help, I don't know what he will do. Something self-destructive is my guess. You're the same that way. You've got hungry minds, needing constant challenges to occupy you. My death is one of those puzzles that cannot be solved. He'll try, though. He'll try until he burns out completely. Only this time I won't be there to sweep up the ashes. So Ikora comes back in her plea to Zavala. He wants to help. He needs to help. So Ikora realizes that getting him involved with the Vanguard, and if, for those who don't remember, he was Vanguard before Ikora, right? He was the Warlock Vanguard.
Yeah.
Before Ikora.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he got obsessed with the Vex and trying to figure out the workings of the Vex. And so he got banished from the tower.
Yeah, a little more complicated than that. But,
it's more complicated than that. But in a
short
has
version.
a sordid history with the Vanguard and the tower.
Right. But
he was exiled, basically.
He was exiled, but I think he had already left. He was he had already left and gone in his explorations of trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think it was also implied that his followers had a lot to do with making him lose his credibility.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into like a religious thing that he didn't really want a part of.
Right. Right. And so this is obviously touching upon what a role Osiris is going to have. And he is in the tower. We've all seen him there. He's there in the same area that
he's lurking.
He's lurking. It's the same section that Eva used to be in, like before she kind of took center stage. Wasn't that where she was?
They must have already had an NPC layout, so they just plugged him in.
Right, plugged him right in there. So it'll be interesting to see what his role is. Obviously, he's going to take on some kind of role.
Well, Zavala does agree to it, so he is going to be advisor.
An advisor to the Vanguard, a Vanguard advisor. So,
and we have, I don't know where it's floating around, but there's a screenshot floating around of Osiris, Zavala, and Cabal leadership all plotting together. Has anyone seen that?
That's right. I do remember that.
It's a promo image that's been around for a bit.
So, Ikora, at the kind of behest of Sagira, is like trying to give Osiris some purpose so that he can kind of not self-destruct, so to speak. So that's our grimoire.
A Touch of Grimoire, brought to you by the Paracasual Destiny podcast and Tang Instant Breakfast Drink, who we neglected to say is our new sponsor. So enjoy your fake orange flavor.
You think that's still exists? Is it something?
I think it's out there. Yeah.
It's out there. It's like Ovaltine. It's just out.
It's always going to be on the shelves. Yeah, even after a nuclear holocaust, you'll still see Ovaltine and Tang on the grocery store shelves, right? So thank you very much. That's I need to go back and reread the play of Shadow and Light a little more carefully, I think. And also the Hawkmoon entry, the new Hawkmoon entry for Destiny 2, is also one that asks the question, what is this feeling? And if anybody out there listening has any idea what the feeling is in that, let us know. I think it's love, but, you know, I could be wrong, and I think it's open to interpretation. And I'm really enjoying...
All you need.
Huh?
It's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way that you're wording it, too, it's making me think it might be also a Grinch moment where her heart is growing 3 sizes.
Yeah. Right. But I do kind of think, is it just me, or am I getting the feeling that a lot of the lore that's coming out are almost like personal letters between the authors and the fans, like these little messages, like, we're here, we're listening to you. Here's a little tidbit. Yeah, it seems like there's that. I like the way that there is an underpinning of communication between author and reader outside of the lore, outside of the story. That's
right.
Just
they're touching upon the feelings that everybody is experiencing in the world that we're living right now. And
I don't know. It's like Funny Bone and I did the Happy New Year edition of our podcast, in which we feature it's Get Out Those Old Records if you're interested, and it's every song I listened to I felt was written for the pandemic, and I realized that's just sort of a horoscopic vision of it's you can relate anything to anything, and humans in particular are very good about making any passage fit their narrative, or situation. Right. So I don't know how much of it is that, but certainly with the lore, I've noticed there's a lot of, acknowledgments of bugs in the game, and they make, sort of humorous allusions to those sort of things. So there is that communication that's taking place between Bungie and the player through the lore, even though, I just think that's so cool. I love it.
Plus, I mean, you can't get out of it, right? It's part of what our world is right now. Mm-hmm. So if the writing is happening in this time, there's no way that it can't have some level of influence, even if it's subconscious.
Oh, sure. Another video game I'm playing, they actually make reference to it. They make reference to the pandemic. And so it's amazing how quickly the turnaround cycle for development and voiceover work and mocap and everything is so short cycle these days. It's amazing how you're getting current events in video games. It's just phenomenal. Should we move on to our next segment?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our next segment, as fans of the show, or as the fan of the show knows, is our Destiny sound check. So without any further ado, Destiny sound check. So going back to the Hawkmoon, we'll go back to the Hawkmoon. I mentioned earlier about the sound of the Hawkmoon, and I actually, this is a little bit nerdy, but I went and geeked out on the hawk cries, because that procced shot is signaled by the cry of a hawk, obviously. And I found the best match I could for it, and that is on, of course, YouTube, a great resource for this sort of thing. So we're going to listen to the sound of a red-tailed hawk first, an actual red-tailed hawk making this sound. And then we're going to listen to the sound of the gun, the exotic weapon, Hawkmoon. Here's the sound of the red-tailed hawk letting out a piercing cry. All right. That's our red-tailed hawk. And here's the sound of the Hawkmoon, and you're going to hear a number of shots to get it to proc, and it's going to go twice, so you get a good hear. Also, I'm going to, just for real sound effect fans, listen to the aim down sights has a little bit of a sound, too. So before the shots fire out, you hear the ADS sound effect is kind of cool. It's kind of like a buckling sound. Here we go. Here's the proc. Here's the big one. Reload. and that is the sound of the actual gun. I just love it so much. I had to share that. And like with our grimoire, I'd also like to do a part 2 today's sound check and just acknowledge how amazing the Dawning Carols turned out to be. We had mentioned it in our podcast before day after Christmas when we took a break 2 weeks ago. I did mention it then, and it came out, I think, like 23rd, right before Christmas it came out. And I'd like to play a track off of the Dawning Carols. Thank you so much to all the musicians who worked on it. And I guess before we play it, I have to say how impressed I was. I didn't know what to expect. Honestly, I have not been following these guys for a while, previously, and I didn't know what to expect. So I was really taken aback by the quality and the professionalism of the music and the mixing and the whole production. So here it is. I'm going to play the first track off of this collection, this project, the Dawning Carols. This one's called Stillness at Dawn. Little Stillness at Dawn there. Track 1 off of the Dawning Carols. Please look for the link in the description and go out and support and listen to this music. It's really good. I can't wait for next holiday season, the next Dawning. I'm going to be sure to have this out. It's also on Spotify as well. I don't know if... were you guys able to listen to that track at all?
Yeah, I turned up the volume.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really festive. Really great.
Very festive.
So I'm thinking that wraps it up for the Destiny portion of today's podcast. Has anybody been doing anything outside of the Destiny universe that they'd like to share before we sign off today? Salliebug?
Well, a couple of things. One is we did, thanks to Romancegirl and Stego, we did start The Mandalorian.
That's right.
Watching a couple of the last 2 or 3 episodes of season 1 just to kind of get us back into the swing of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched episode 1, and we ended up watching that twice because I think the first time we watched it, we were both pretty tired, so we might have dozed in a couple of days. And so we watched it again, just make sure we have a full on. It was a good episode, so excited to kind of continue on with that story. And then the other thing I've been consuming is, thanks to my son and a Christmas gift, I got the Agatha Christie novel that introduces Poirot. And so I am reading that book along with my daughter-in-law, like a little mini book club. And so I am never really read any Agatha Christie before. Obviously,
Classic.
she's an icon in the mystery writing world, but it's not a book that any of the books that I've like gone out and sought on my own. But now that I'm reading it, she's a really good writer. It's kind of masterful mystery writing, and enjoying it. But it's also easy. Not like young kid easy, but like easy read, not like you feeling like you have to keep going back and rereading it.
Easy reading.
It's The Mysterious Affair at Styles, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you recommend it?
I do. I'm
well, you have to wait till you get to the end.
I am only
to
about
recommend
halfway
a mystery
through the book
book
right now.
Okay.
But so far, it's done a really good it's done a good job of introducing the character, because I think she had obviously wrote many books that includes the main characters of this book. So it's like an introduction to kind of their...
Cool. Is it a whodunit?
It's definitely a whodunit. Okay. And it's good. It's good. I like the period piece. I like that it's, it takes place. It's kind of wartime or post-war England, and I like the setting. It's good. I'm enjoying it so far. So, and it's fun to be reading it along with someone so that we can kind of discuss it, do like our book club thing. So that's been fun.
Stego, you've been doing anything outside of Destiny?
Yes, I've been playing The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening on Switch.
Nice.
Which is a remake of a classic that was originally released in '93.
Yeah, that's going back.
Game Boy.
Yeah. Wow. Did you play the original, or is this your first time playing the game?
I actually played a Game Boy Color Deluxe re-release, so this is not the first time that they've done like a re-release of it.
Sure.
That came out in '95. But yes, I did play the original.
Cool. That's awesome. Romance Girl, have you been up to anything fun outside of Destiny?
Oh, we just binge watched a Crunchyroll original animation series called Onyx Equinox, which is based on Aztec and Mayan myth.
Oh, cool.
It was just very well done.
I'm intrigued.
Was worth the free trial we signed up for sure.
All right.
And also, it's the end of the year. It's getting towards the end of the year to watch this, but we watched Alien Xmas on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
And it's a stop-go animation, 40-minute little film. And I believe they're the same team that did the stop-go animation numbers at the beginning of Elf.
Oh. Okay. I'm intrigued on that as well.
Cute, sweet family Christmas story. Where did you enjoyed it?
Where did you watch that?
On Netflix.
On Netflix, and Alien Xmas it's called?
Called Alien Xmas. Yep.
All right. Definitely going to have to try that. check that one out.
It's a classic. It's an instant classic.
Oh,
and
wow, that's
I guess
bold.
While I'm plugging the Stop Go animation, I had mentioned earlier I had watched Ikora and Romancegirl.
Mm-hmm.
I would really recommend the winter episode of that because there's just a very well done Christmas festive, I guess you could call it a dance scene. And
that's also on Netflix, right?
It's also on Netflix, a Netflix original. So
Nice.
just if you're feeling like getting into that, just getting a little bit more Stop Go animation Christmas before the season ends.
I love Stop Go animation.
Those two.
And
those
Funny
two
Bones
things.
got our catalog of Stop Go, Rankin and Bass, so this will fill the gap. Yeah. I've been playing some AC Valhalla. It's no secret now. And exploring that universe and enjoying the Yule Festival despite its bugginess. But being a Destiny fan, we are used to the bugs, and they're almost at this point, the bugginess of a video game is becoming more charming than alarming, I would say. So thank you for updating that, Daniel. And also, I've been watching a little bit of The Last Kingdom in tandem and doing a lot of Wikipedia reading on King Alfred and sort of 10th century England, and also brushing up on some Norse mythology as well, because that's of course included in AC Valhalla as well. So yeah, but we've all been doing really enjoying this holiday and vacation in particular, and trying to squeeze it for all it's worth before heading back to reality. So I think that does it for this episode of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Any final words, Salliebug?
No, just like you said, squeezing out every last bit. We've, after our 10-day quarantine, been able to have some in-person time with our son and grandson. So I've been enjoying that, and like been able to see them pretty much every day for the past few days. So
right, I need to turn my attitude around and be a little more thankful than
it's gonna
cringing.
be sad when that goes away, but
yeah, it will be.
Right, you start looking forward and knowing that that's going away, rather than just like being focused on the present, and that we have been able to have that time and
right, yeah,
connect basically with them.
It's been great
on a very personal level, and so it's been nice, and we're very thankful for
just
that
having
time.
the time.
They're thankful that they live near us enough to do that, and
yep. So let's put the lid on this cookie tin, and until next time, this has been episode 23 of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. You can find us on Twitter at ParacasualP. You can find us on this YouTube channel here as well, and all major podcast outlets. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Goodbye.
This has been a Paracasual Destiny podcast production.